All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining Monaco Live today. We're doing this from Microsoft Teams. Obviously, you guys are working from home like the rest of us during lockdown. Olivier, we're going to start with you. How are you coping with the lockdown?
I'm coping well. I'm coping with my family, 2 kids, and my wife in an apartment in Monaco. And I must say, we found ourselves to be quite resilient. But luckily, the progressive end of the lockdown from Monday will make significant progress for us, and be able to run around in an open air field will be fantastic.
Absolutely.
But it was good. I think work-wise, it was even more productive than ever, even from my team at the foundation, and obviously they were all working from home as well. It's been easier than everybody expected, and you could be really more focused on what you were doing.
Tell me, how has it, you say it was easier, but how has the lockdown affected, say, the everyday, day-to-day operations of the foundation?
Nothing has changed. To be very blunt, like we decided not to stop any single operation that was going on. Obviously, we definitely had to cancel the Monaco Ocean Week, which was a big and sad decision to take, but it was the only one possible. But what I'm telling here is, regarding the projects and the initiatives that we decided to support and fund, there is not a single change. We are on the side of our project managers. If they face any difficulty, we are here to support. And some have already reached to us to ask for another, a delay response, and to extend the period of support, which has been granted without any problem. The first 6 weeks were clearly dedicated to a message of solidarity, making sure that the staff, the project managers, the families, people in Monaco and in our neighborhood were obviously in good health and safe. That was the main goal. We managed to very easily put down together with the technology a way to have a continuity in the service provided by the foundation, which was good. But again, health was our main focus.
Yeah, going back to the cancellation of Monaco Ocean Week, obviously that was a big blow. We also had the World Ocean Summit that was cancelled. That was supposed to take place in March. But the big one was the UN Ocean Conference, set to take place in Lisbon. Now, the last one really was particularly important, wasn't it? Because this conference was expected to adopt this intergovernmental declaration on areas of action, along with a list of voluntary commitments. So what does it mean cancelling that event?
Well, first of all, the decision to cancel was not taken on a political basis. It's, again, taken on sanitary and security basis. But to go down this road, I would add to your list that the World Congress of IUCN planned in Marseille early June is cancelled. I would say postponed to next January. COP26 in Glasgow has been postponed as well. There is a big Congress on biodiversity still announced in October in China, which reasonably we should think it might be postponed as well. So the list of events postponed or cancelled is long. 2020 was supposed to be a milestone in terms of ocean and biodiversity and climate agenda. So if we want to remain, and we have to remain optimistic, we can say that one will have more time to prepare these milestone events. Governments might have more time also to make their clear commitments done in the past transform into action plan, if you see what I mean. We all feel that the pandemic has at least this benefit that people are no longer accepting the recurrent blah blah and discussion. It's time for action, So at the end of the day, yes, postponing, cancelling these events is a serious issue, big problem, but it can come out with a good outcome if we don't go back to business as usual.
Christian, you have you're in the process of launching Gema, there we go. Can you tell us about that, what it stands for, and how the lockdown has hindered, helped, affected the establishment of this association?
Well, for us, I mean, looking at and all of the foundations we're speaking to around the world, supporting what Olivier said, the lockdown has been an eye-opening experience and also given a time of reflection, certainly in the right direction and pushing people to really start to look at, as Olivier said, take action. And actions are what people want to see now, clearly, with what's happened and the consciousness has been raised. What I see working very well is the foundations and the work that's being achieved has not been slowed. Some of the expeditions have had to stop and been delayed, which is unfortunate because that's a whole year delay for some of these expeditions. But for the most part, the work for fundraising, creating awareness has been redefined in some way. And we're finding that people are a lot more cued in and also uncertain to what will be the outcome after what the post-COVID will be. But I think that from what Gema, Global Environment Movement Association, and GEM, Global Environment Media, and our aim is consolidating all of the work from all over the world, from all of the NGOs, institutes, and foundations, and putting it into one place for a dissemination of information, the way that we're able to visualize it through a multimedia architectural platform, which makes it very appealing for everybody to gain information easily and readily on all the subjects encompassing the environment. So with the Princess Grace Foundation, we work very closely, and Olivier and I have established, I think, through the years, a friendship, but more so a working understanding of where we want to be and what we can do. And we're a support to that. But I think in all, we can see that maybe it's not such a bad thing that some of these events have been canceled so that we can actually rethink how we reapproach them. One of the things that we found to be, as once again, supporting Olivier's comment before, the efficiency of meetings through conferences and gaining has become so much more convenient and more practical in a sense. Webinars and Zoom conferences, we did one the other day, and there was almost, I think it was 12,000 people came on board to listen, which you wouldn't be able to organize in a 1 week period in a physical location. So people are really starting to pay attention. And I think information and the delivery of information is going to be key to how we fix these problems. And certainly coming out of this, dissuading the illusions of grandeur that the problems have been fixed just because the air is cleaner now or anything. And this is a lot of comments the public we can see coming in through commentary that it seems that this has gone away. But I also see that it has not, and clearly our efforts have to be doubled now to really capitalize on this extreme event, which I think is a wonderful stepping stone for the healing process and consciousness of the issues that surround us and how we do things.
Absolutely. Now, Olivia, the foundation has taken advantage of this situation, launching a Green Shift campaign. Can you tell us about that, the philosophy behind that?
With pleasure. Well, it all started with a reflection, and the core idea behind that is how can you avoid going back to business as usual? This is really central in the approach. Of course, the tragedy of the pandemic brought solidarity and in an outstanding way, people carrying, people in the front line. We all wanted to support, and we still have to support them. But we also felt the urge to have a similar approach to the environmental project. This is our daily life. I think now the link has been clearly established between wildlife, human health, planet health, and I like the new approach that philosophers and scientists also bring to the table, which is called One Health. And One Health is the planetary health. It's at the core between human health, animal health, environmental health. And I think this is the trigger. People have clearly understood, when I say people, it's the general public, the public opinion, that yes, at the end of the day, it all comes together as one. So we were thinking at the foundation, what can we do to make this momentum bring solutions or ideas to avoid going back to business as usual? We have the chance and the immense privilege to be inspired by the Prince's message for the Earth Day, which was quite well addressing the key central issues that we have there: ocean, climate, biodiversity, planet, and humanity. This is the real connection. And we have a vast array of personalities, scientists, board members of the foundation willing to take the floor and just participate into the debate. So the initial thought was more having a debate, bringing to the table very concrete solutions, but also recommendations. And among recurrent recommendations is to make sure, to be quite really adamant that the subsidies that will have to be given by states to support and solve the financial crisis and economic crisis, there will be subsidies needed, but that these subsidies are at least under conditions. That's central, airline companies, thermal cars. We don't really hope that it will be a clear business as usual solution. Yes, they bring employment. They will be supported. This is for sure, but under which condition? And that's very, very important. Another aspect of the debate is investing in energy efficiency. These can bring very long-term benefits. You make you take economic advantage because you save money at the end of the day. It reduces the green gas emissions in the air, and it brings clear impact to what the world is facing now. So, yes, again, the financial crisis will need to be addressed, but it's just a question of how do you address it and which conditions do you establish clearly. So that's how the Green Shift campaign has been launched. It was supposed to be launched every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but given the interest and the success that we face, we are launching every day now a new video.
We saw the one from Nico Rosberg this week.
Yes, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Maria Damanaki, who was a former European Commissioner for the Seas and Fisheries, is live today. And tomorrow we have the big surprise to have Robert Redford also.
Oh, wow, that's exciting.
Yes, and it's only the beginning.
But realistically, when you're talking about the finances of this, if you are directing money to economic recovery, to putting people back into jobs, to basically getting life back to normal, is there going to be a shift of funds where, okay, yes, we understand this has happened to the environment, but that can wait now. Now we need to focus on getting everybody back and living normally as we did pre-crisis?
Well, that will be, honestly, a big, big mistake, which we all hope it will be avoided. Of course, I'm not the one deciding. The foundation is not the one deciding. We're an NGO. But clearly, if we don't pay attention, the COVID-19 pandemic might have been the rehearsal for the big one. That's a serious alarm signal that has been given. And I must say that, the world celebrated this year the 50th anniversary of the Earth Day. And I was reading, it was the New York Times and some other magazines that addressed what happened in 50 years, in 5 decades. It's not so bad. Many, many things have clearly improved. The air quality in the US, the air quality in the majority of the world has improved. The ozone hole has been, now, I don't know if you've read it, but it's over. It seems to be over. It's sorted.
And this is the one that was reported over the North Pole last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which was 1,000 kilometers in diameter. Yeah.
So some good news happened. It's on the other, in the balance, you also have very drawbacks that took place within 50 years. So we have to remain positive. And before the pandemic, a lot of states had taken clear measures. A lot of companies has taken clear measures. Airline companies have taken serious commitments to address the issue of the kerosene pollution and to reduce their green gas emission. That was in written. So prior to the pandemic, the guidelines, the framework was there. It's just that we need to at least take a similar road, or even better, we need to strengthen and improve it.
And a lot of this, at the end of it, we all say it's all about analysis. We're going to be looking at the numbers. We're going to be looking at the real impact that slowing down the world has had. Obviously, Christian, a large part of that will be through videos, trying to disseminate that information out to the public, and this is something where your organisation can step in and help with that.
Oh, absolutely. And similarly to how we work with foundations, including our closest partner with the Albert II Foundation, is clearly to represent all of the work that they're doing, but including the videos that they're posting at the moment, that this is going to have access to a far wider audience than any one person can reach. And that is our goal, is obviously consolidating all the efforts that are being done at the moment to bring them into one place where we can give it that extra bit of reach. And it's all going to be done through video supported back with data. So through our partnerships, the benefit comes to all of our other partners in the GEM project, which will be the support from our partnerships, for instance, with the United Nations and the grid and all the data and all the research and the geo and earth science coming back from NASA that we're able to harness and put into a legible and a filtered process for people to actually understand and gauge where they are statistics. And also our process is to help people identify how, obviously identifying the solutions, and solutions is ensuring that there's a problem which exists, which clearly there is, and highlighting solutions that exist today and how people being more aware of this can help shift those solutions into practical sense and actually make them implemented into our daily lives. And it's a slow process, all the way from, teaching in the UK plastic bags and just getting people in their idea, because plastic bags, they know that there's a waste. But when they realize that, whenever you go shopping, you might as well just take one plastic bag and throw it into the bin, because that's exactly what's happening. There is nothing taking place. And it's taken a long process of almost 5 years to make a difference in the UK. And yet we still don't see much of a change. So clearly it shows that we need to be doing far more to increase just the daily habits that we have, and how we change our lives, and enforcing companies by public opinion, and governments, hopefully by public opinion, to actually shift in some of these areas by just highlighting them.
Yeah, I totally meet your point there. And I think what is calling out for its action and also change in mindset. And to do so, it's again, science to policy. It's education, raising awareness. And it's true that we don't talk much about the young generation so far. We talk a lot of our elderly, that we need to make sure they're in good health. But the young generation is also suffering a lot, being locked down at home, worrying about their studies, worrying about their future. I think that's the bottom line here. Sorry.
No, sorry, Olivier, finish.
No, I was just saying that this is why GEM and Gema are doing an incredible job, because it will be, continuous awareness and education to these key central topics. That's why the foundation is really happy to provide the videos and the data available. The problem is really vast and we need to address it. And I believe that this mindset, the mobilization of the population on these topics, will probably come once again from the young generation.
Indeed. And, this is where we have to turn around a study. And I know we spoke about this, Olivier, but a study was conducted. I think it was 10,000 children across, and I'll try and see if I can get this for you, Cassandra, but it was 10,000 children over the last year, age ranging from 8 years old to, I think it was 18 years old. And the majority believed that in their lifetime, the world would go downhill, and there's nothing that they can do to change it. And this was a very worrying report, because younger generation feel that there's nothing they can do because they can hear it. Like Olivier, I have a lot of children. I double his, and quite literally, I can tell you, my children are concerned, and they're at 10 years old. They're really just starting to see that there's a lot of blame and anger, and the whole movement that's come up from the younger generation for our generation to do something because it is unfortunately our generation that needs to implement these changes today, so that the younger generation can actually carry it on and benefit. So it's a simultaneous approach, but looking at a lot of this, a lot of where we're at, we need to move very quickly as a planet. We need to start really putting things into place to ensure our security and future, and that's on a whole range of subjects outside of climate change.
Is that something that you'll be pushing for through the foundation, perhaps, Olivier, is to speed things up a little. Now, okay, everything has had to slow down a little bit. Yes, we're going to play catch up, but let's capitalize on that momentum before it kind of dissipates.
Correct. And we will continue, as the Prince has always wished the foundation to be, will continue to be an example. So I just had a conference call with my team this morning, and from Monday, when the lockdown starts progressively to end in Monaco, from Monday, we continue with remote working.
Yes.
Okay.
We don't put back the staff in the office. We have half of the staff using public transportation to come to the office, which we decided that even for their health consideration, it's not a good way to start again, to have this reset program. You don't want them to be an hour and a half in a train every day. So we decided to continue remote working. We plan even to establish on a year basis this program to have people being able to work from home, and of course keeping a social link with the team by coming on a regular basis to the office. But we would like to offer this flexibility. We'll have a clear impact and we'll be coherent with our message, reducing the green gas emission by limiting the number of cars coming to Monaco. That's it's a central and key issue for any employers, any employee in Monaco. So we would like to support this idea at our own level, of course. But yes, we are thinking to do that. So to walk the talk.
And I think, to support that, I think globally, the COVID has taught us one thing, that it's shown that there is an efficiency in being able to work remotely. And the idea, hopefully, is that the big buildings that consolidate a lot of people working, the efficiency levels doesn't need to be dictated by everyone having to sit in one place. We're seeing that it is far more efficient. People are able to get their daily exercise in far easier. They're not compounded with nuances throughout the day and distractions, which inhibit everything. Psychologically, we know it inhibits creativity in a huge way if you can't follow a thought through every 2 seconds because your phone's ringing or somebody's bothering you. And to have that space, we've seen, a lot of people we've been speaking to throughout the last month have all given diehard testimonials that this is how they wish to continue working, because it makes far more sense. It makes sense for a lot of us to do it this way, I think. So it is a lesson learned, as many lessons I think coming out of COVID are going to be teaching us how we do things. And it's wonderful because it always does take a kick in the pants to
You're right.
To get moving.
You're right. And another topic that we haven't addressed yet this morning is also how, as customers, we address globalizations. So now during the lockdown, people were really pleased to be able to buy vegetables and fruits locally, And what will happen next? Will we continue to do so and support our local economies? Will we still pay attention about the seasonality of the fruits and vegetables we buy? Hopefully, yes. And I can tell you that at least within my family, it's a no-brainer. It's done. The children are even pushing you harder to follow this step. I would agree in saying that my main challenge for this year was to become a plastic-free household. And that's really difficult, though.
Well, you've got plastic in your ears.
I know, but at least this doesn't.
Coming out
this
of
is you keep it. It's like a plastic chair, but it's just the wrapping, the plastic bottles.
Increased in so many ways, considering
yes.
And it's about changing habits, isn't it? It's about that we've learned that we can change our habits. We don't have to consume so much.
We believe it's a slow process. Examples of this are how people can see the same imagery going out every day and a call for action for something heinous, and they will ignore it time and time again. But then it just takes one moment for that person to be affected by it, or them to actually pay some attention. And the whole idea of how we change our habits. We are a selfish planet, and unfortunately the world has become very me orientated. We live in our bubbles and we have what we want. We have it when we want it. And I think the reality is conforming and slowly getting across this idea of finding the proper solutions of how people can get what they want when they want it, but within a consideration of where it doesn't harm anything along the way. And this is going to take time to change, because ultimately seasonal vegetables just being one element.
Absolutely.
This is not something very uncommon. I recall very clearly, what is this now? Almost 15 years ago, and it was only 15 years ago in Eastern Europe, in the Czech Republic and in places like Hungary. In the wintertime, good luck trying to find an orange or anything, because you're eating potatoes, you're eating the vegetables that are seasonal to the area. And if you wanted to buy produce from around the world, you'd have to go to one of the big mega stores, and it was never really that much of a necessity. You'd kind of dealt with it. But today, I think we've become very spoiled. Can we reverse that? It's going to be a slow process, and people have to realize there does have to be sacrifice involved in what we have to do as a planet. But it can be done incrementally, and I think we can do it where we're not going to suffer too much. I don't think we allow that either way.
All right, finally, gentlemen, we're lifting the lockdown. Well, Monaco's lifting the lockdown on Monday. The countdown is on. What is the first thing that you're looking forward to doing?
Cheeseburger. No, that's not saying no meat. No. I think, Olivier, I'm going to let you go for that one first.
Frankly, have a walk, feel nature, go back as close as possible to nature, either the sea or, a forest, but yeah, a contact with nature.
Yeah.
Desperate for that.
Definitely. Getting out of the confines and taking a breath, having a look around.
Yeah. And maybe getting away from the kids for a little while.
That's not for Monday.
No, it's not, is it? But you can escape maybe a little bit further.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, this is definitely a topic that we could talk about for hours, and perhaps we can pick it up again in a few months, and we can both reflect on what has happened and if there have been any major policies or any analysis that we can talk about. I think this is definitely something that we can continue to follow, and that's particularly interesting for our readers at Monaco Live. So, gentlemen, I thank you very much for joining us, and I wish you best for the last few days of confinement.
Thank you very much.
Olivier.
Keep safe. Take care, guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.